if your tile, your Sgraffito tile from Test Tile Thursday came out of the kiln, 3 coats of clear or a Celadon, write it in your glaze record, okay? If it didn't come out of the kiln, you gotta get it fired. Secondly, if you have your humor sculpture, you need to get that turned in. Okay. All right, so last week I showed you guys how to do soft slab. So for soft slab, you would roll out about a finger down of clay, fresh square block clay on the cart, and then you can either cut a template that is like this, like a Starbucks cup, a tumbler, or you could do a mug. Some of you started that, some of you didn't. So when you're not throwing, today or next week, then you're hand building. So you can do soft slab. You can also do the little teacup soft slab. Today I'm going to show you hard slab, okay? So for your soft slab, make sure that you really attach everything well, and then if you have any leftover clay when it's leather hard, it's best to get a banding wheel and to use the Sureform tool to shave that down. And then really make sure all of your seams are attached well. I'm not going to do the whole thing now, but make sure really well made. Now if you wanted to add a handle to this, I'm going to demo handles Friday. Thursday's Test Tile Thursday again. I think you'll really like what we're doing that day. But just keep it wet, leather hard, and then you can add a handle to it. You don't have to add a handle to your hand-built one, but if you want to, you can. Okay, the next thing to do is if you want to do a hard slab one, and this is really important to pay attention to because when we make boxes or containers, it's the same method, so make sure you're really paying attention. So it's a really good idea to start off with a template. So I have paper and scissors on the bookshelf here, and then I have blue masking tape. The reason you would use this is so you can take the template apart if you wanted to. So if I wanted a cup like this, I would just cut out the 4 sides. You don't necessarily have to cut the base, and then tape it together so that you could see what your cup would look like. Now it looks a little big, but remember clay shrinks, so it's okay that it's a little bit bigger. And then obviously you'd have the base too. But the nice thing about making the template is you can see what it will look like before you create the form. So after you do that, you can take it apart and you can cut out your sides. Since it is hard slab, you need the pieces to get to leather hard. Okay, so you need the 4 pieces. I made a few extra. So what I did first, before you guys came, is I have this roller stamp with birds. If you want to borrow it, you can. It's my personal one. And I rolled it into the slab that I rolled out, and then I cut out the 4 slabs and I let them get leather hard. If you try to build this cup with floppy slabs, it doesn't work. It falls apart, it does not look good. So these are all leather hard, okay? So for leather hard slabs, if I was to put them together like this, I would have one edge sticking out. So we have to create what's called a bevel edge or a 45-degree angle on it. And there are a few ways you guys can create this. So make sure you're paying attention so you really can see how these can be created. I'm going to do it over here because the camera's over here. So if you can't see, you might want to get in a good spot you can see. So most artists use the bevel tool, which is just a wire tool with an edge. And you go to the side of the table, right? And then you put it at a 45-degree angle. If you can't see, get in a spot you can see. And then you will cut the bevel at that angle. And you will do that on all sides and then definitely pick up your scraps. So that is one way. The other way is just to use the fettling knife. And for the fettling knife, you just pull it towards you. So you hold it at a 45-degree angle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then the final way to create those is the Sureform tool. So it's a little messier, but it's fast. And it gives you some texture. So you guys can decide which method you want to use. All of these tools are on the counter here, and that's where you go when you're done. So you guys need the 2 bevels that will fit together. Okay? So then, obviously, what you're going to do is you're going to slip and score those beveled edges. You don't have to make a cup like this. Oh, this is nice. There's 4 in there. Can you please put them in the tray with the pink? That would be really helpful. If you don't have wet slip, there are buckets by the sinks that we use from throwing that you guys can use. So you have to slip and score. If you don't slip and score, it'll come apart at the seams. Okay, so make sure you're actually scoring and actually applying slip. This is a little dry, but it'll work. And then you start to put together your form. Okay, now it's really important that not only slipping and scoring, but that you put soft clay in the seams. So this is important because if you guys do, when we do our container unit, when you guys do that container unit, you also need to have, do this same method this way. So for the seams, you just roll coils, or you can just smear really soft clay in there. I like to roll a coil, and you will need a coil inside the form that you smear both sides and really smooth. Take your time to do that, and then you don't have to do it right away, but eventually you'll need that coil on the outside too. And then you want to really smooth it, add the base, and then spray and wrap it because you're adding wet clay to leather hard clay. And then of course work on your rim. So eventually you should get a form a lot like your template. So you guys are welcome to use the one I cut, or you can create your own. It's better to have a narrower base for a cup. And I could add a handle to this too if I keep it leather hard. So today, if you are not throwing, or when you're done throwing, you're either doing the soft slab cup, this one, or the mug, or the teacup. All those templates are on the counter over there. Or you're doing a hard slab one. So the hard slab one, you need to template, and then you need to let those slabs get leather hard. My throwers, if you're throwing today, you guys are going to be using the recycled clay.